video, we are going to discuss the topic non-verbal communication, and in order to understand this idea in more detail, we'll be just exploring a question that was asked in NTA UGC NET December 2023, and through that question, we'll be exploring 4 different types of non-verbal communication. So, if you consider the various types of communication, non-verbal communication is a part wherein you can identify certain technical terms that you can associate with different concepts that are in connection with the entire process of communication, and this is what you have to focus here as well. So the question goes like this: the study of concepts or connections with time as a part of human communication is known as, and we have the options Proxemics, Kinesics, Chronemics and Haptics. So these are 4 different types of non-verbal communication that you can explore, and through this video we'll be focusing on these 4 terms, and by the end of this session we'll be trying to answer this question as well. So here you have the first type, that is proxemics. So what do you mean by proxemics? So this proxemics is an idea that you can associate with the use of space and how it make you comfortable in the context of communication, and it describes an individual's perception of space, both personal as well as social. So proxemics is an idea that you can associate with the concept of space in the context of communication. So if you consider this idea, you can say it as an example like this. So if you're communicating to a person who are really close to, if you have a best friend and if you're communicating to that person, the space in between you two is really close, right? So the proximity between you two will be really close. But at the same time, if you're conversing or if you're talking or if you have a conversation with a stranger, the concept or the space, the concept of the space in between you both will be really different from how you perceive space in the context wherein you are communicating with one of your best friends. So this is a very important idea, that how we perceive this idea of space in communication, that can actually communicate a lot more ideas related to how you two are connected to each other, so how much you are close enough. So these kinds of ideas can be associated with the idea of proxemics or the study of space in the context of communication. So that is what this particular term proxemics is all about. Okay. So proxemics is the study of human use of space and how it makes us comfortable. So it describes an individual's perception of space, which includes both personal as well as social. So the second term that we explored in that particular question was kinesics. So what do you mean by kinesics? So kinesics is a technical term for body language. So we already know that when we are communicating, the idea or the use of body language is a very important part of the communication. So this is something that makes your communication even more effective and better, right? So this is what this idea is all about. So it is the interpretation of body motion in communication, such as facial expressions and gestures. So if we are communicating to someone or if we are addressing a mass audience, so how you are using your body parts, or how you are moving your hands, or how you are using this body language is a very important thing, which actually can actually contribute to how you're perceiving the entire audience. So this kind of a proper use of body language along with what you're saying is something that can actually influence the audience who are listening to you, right? So this is what this idea of kinesics is all about, and it's a technical term that stands for body language. And the third term that we explored in that question is chronemics. So what do you mean by chronemics? So chronemics is the study of the use of time in non-verbal communication, and it refers to the way that an individual would perceive and value time. So chronemics is an idea that you can associate with time in the context of communication. Alright, so chronemics is it's a study of use of time in non-verbal communication. So how fast you are saying something, or how you perceive the idea of time in a conversation. If you consider this in an organizational setup, if you have a boss who really wants to communicate something to the employees who are working there, so he can arrange a meeting whenever he wants. So there is no constraints of time as such, right? But at the same time, if you are an employee and if you need to communicate something to the boss, you need to take an appointment, a prior appointment, in order to communicate. So these are some of the various extended concepts that you can think of when it comes to chronemics or the idea of time in the context of communication. And the fourth option that we have explored in that question was haptics. So what do you mean by haptics? And haptics it's a term that refers to any form of interactive or interactions which involves touch. So touch is again a very important medium through which you can express a lot of things, right? So if you're finding someone sad, you can just go and pat their shoulders, or you can just give them a hug. So that can actually console that person more than the words that we use in order to console somebody. So this touch is a very important way in which you can express your various emotions. You can express, as we already said earlier, you can console someone using this touch, and you can even congratulate someone. You can just shake your hands and you can just congratulate someone if someone has achieved something really great. And these are the various forms you can express your love through touch. So these are the various emotions that you can actually communicate to through the medium of touch, right? So this touch is a very important part of communication, and the technical term that we're using for touch is basically haptics in the context of communication. So this is again a type of non-verbal communication. So haptic communication is the means by which people and other animals communicate through touching. So haptics is a word you can associate with touch. So tactile communication is another word that you can associate with this as well. So coming back to the question that we have explored at the beginning of this session, the question was like this: the study of concepts or connections with time as a part of human communication is known as, and we have the options: Proxemics, Kinesics, Chronemics, and Haptics. Of course, the right answer for this question is option C, that is Chronemics. Option A stands for the use of space or how we perceive space in the context of communication. Option B is associated with body language, and option D is associated with touch. Okay, so the right answer for this question is option C. So in this video, we have explored 4 important types of non-verbal communication. This is not just the 4 types, or this is not just the types of non-verbal communication. You can also include other types to the list. So if you want to know more about non-verbal communication and the different types of non-verbal communication, a detailed video in this session is available in our LMS platform. So if you want to access to our LMS, you can consider Appleby Academy's online courses, and also we are providing classroom courses or classroom classes for NTA UGC NET exam, and you can make use of these resources that we are providing in this YouTube channel as well, in order to get an overall idea about what NTA UGC NET paper 1 is all about. So I hope this session would really help you in your preparations. So thank you and happy learning.